Hello, Donna Devane here, station owner of the Awakened Radio Network, and I got a surprise for you. Sunday, July 14th, I will be drawing a winner for a $30 gift certificate good towards anything in the Awakened store. Now, how do you get in the entering? Easy. Go over to awakenedradio.net, our front page of our website. There's a donate button there. Every $1 that you donate to the station will enter you into the drawing for a $30 gift certificate. That's right. $1 gets you one chance to win. Now, somebody asked me, well, Donna, can I donate more than that? Sure you can. You can donate as much as you like, and each dollar will enter your name and email address into the drawing to win a gift certificate for $30 towards anything in the Awakened store. So mosey on over to awakenedradio.net. That takes you right to the station's front page on our website. You'll see a donate button there. Good luck, have fun, and stay tuned, because we will be holding other drawings and giveaways and contests in the coming days. Part of our listener loyalty perk. You work with us, we work with you. It's a win-win for everybody. We're all about that survival energy. Peace.
Welcome. You're now tuned in to your unfolding senses on Awakened Radio, the show about opening to your intuitive senses. I'm your host, Ragozzine, and I'm on the air every Thursday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, where I offer tips and techniques to help you explore your intuition. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends to join us here as well. Let's get started. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, July 11th, 2013, the first week of my new time. Guess I need to do a new spot there, but I'll be forthcoming. Welcome to your Unfolding Senses. I'm Ragozzine, your host and explorer here. Your Unfolding Senses is about opening to your inner wisdom, and we're all intuitive. On this show, we talk about the tools, technology, and techniques for centering, connecting inward, and learning to truly listen to our inner voice, with a focus on helping you to find those tools that will work for you. Many of us haven't found a way to hear the messages that are already coming into our life. You may often notice billboards, coincidences, recurring numbers, or other patterns. And we're here to help you make sense of those patterns. Feel free to call in and ask questions or comment on the tools that work for you, intuition, dreams, or silence, which we're discussing tonight. You can call us by adding Awakened Radio to your Skype or dialing 334-649-7204. Or you could come to awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab. Okay, let's delve into this. But before we go any further, this show does not replace any medical advice, so work with your doctor or other healthcare practitioners with any health issues, because we do meditation and some other things as well. As you may already know, your Unfolding Senses is about connecting to your intuition, your inner life, and your heart, essentially learning to listen to your inner guidance, no matter your age, background, or ideology, making room in your life for your inner voice to shine through. You can think of your intuition as a giant broadcast station, beaming information and receiving information from all over the world. You can tune in and connect with whatever you need or want. Are you tuned to those channels that are uplifting and helping you to step toward the life of your dreams? It's up to you. Thanks for tuning in to Awaken Radio. Tonight, And thanks to Donna Devane with the Healing Circle and Chris Beulah with Farm Grill by 40, who were on before me, and now I'm on at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. So be sure to tune in to the correct time for each of the shows. And as you're listening, this can be an opportunity to slow down, suspend doubt and disbelief, at least for the next hour, and we'll connect inward and make time and space for silence and stillness. And gradually the space can unfold into your outer life. And with that in mind, I invite you to take part in the meditation. It's a short meditation to help us enter a space in which we feel better connected to our bodies, minds, spirit, and intuition. You might bring a question to mind that you've been wondering about. You might light a candle. And as we're talking about silence tonight, I might suggest that you ask, how can I allow more silence into my life? And wait for the answer in the meditation. You might allow for a phrase, a sound, a word, or symbol to come to you during the meditation, but allow for whatever does come to come. So as long as you're not driving or out walking somewhere, finding a quiet space, sitting comfortably, and closing your eyes, beginning to breathe slowly and gently, releasing any stress from the day, breathing gently into yourself and your heart. Let go of any doubts or worries. Continue your breathing and let your mind quiet and your body rest. Feel yourself filling with peace and tranquility. Bring your focus to your heart. What has it been asking for? You may wish to bring both of your hands to your heart to feel its inner power, inner vitality. Allow your awareness of your heart to deepen as you breathe. Settle into the stillness. Allow the silence to envelope you. Feel all of your senses open, grow, and deepen, knowing that this is a special place where you can clearly hear your own inner voice, however it speaks to you. Be mindful of how this space feels. You might ask a question or notice any messages available to you within this space. Your inner eyes might see a color, shape, or picture. Your inner ears might hear a word or a phrase. Your other senses might pick up a fragrance or a long-forgotten flavor or a texture. Whatever sensations you notice, pay attention to them. If you don't understand what they might mean for you, ask for deeper clarity and allow for whatever comes to come. If nothing does, that's okay. Don't force anything to happen. Simply rest in the stillness and inner peace. This could be the very thing your heart has been asking for. Notice how your body feels in this time of stillness. Breathe into the parts of your body that feel tight, nervous, anxious, or stressed. Continuing to allow yourself to feel the comfort of this space and know that you can come here anytime. Feeling gratitude for this space, and as we prepare to leave, thanking this space for this connection and any messages you received. And slowly bring your focus back to the room, gently opening your eyes, coming back to your body. Tonight we have an intuition challenge, and I've posted the link in the forum, and I'll be posting it in the chat room as well. The challenge is to identify a figure from history, and if you're the first person to call in and describe what you sensed, you'll be able to win your Unfolding Senses souvenir. Right now, there are customized pens, later on stress balls and whatnot. and depending on which ones arrive first. And we're working with a well-known person from history, and even if you happen to already know who this figure is, you can still connect to your intuition and see what you can intuit. You can call in now, or I'll give hints at the break, but the first person who responds gets the souvenir. You don't have to have successfully determined who this person is, just report and talk about what you actually did sense as you tried to do this. It's not about guessing, it's about truly connecting into your intuition and learning to listen to that inner voice of yours. And as we're talking about silence, it's really important to be able to step in to that space and learn how to connect to your own intuition. And it's always about being comfortable and maybe asking yourself, how do you feel about this object, or in this case, this person, or what feelings does this person trigger within me, what memories does this person remind me of, and letting go of the inner critical voice that says, this is silly. Always pay attention to how you feel, and you might have a flash of memory or just a feeling. Whatever it is, don't dismiss it. I always say, don't dismiss it, because it might seem like a random thought, but it might actually be something that you can work with to go deeper and learn more about what you're trying to connect with your intuition for in the first place. So notice shapes, colors, sounds, sensations, whatever comes to you, don't push aside, and simply notice and find a way to record your thoughts and ideas and emotions that come as you're thinking about it. And at least try it once and see how well you do. Now this week we're talking about silence. You may even want to look around your space and turn off the television or whatever else is on, but not the computer, of course, and get as silent as you can as you listen tonight. Now, there are some people that have hyperacusis, which is a condition that causes people to be unable to tolerate everyday noise levels. Now, noise can be very damaging, but we're not really talking about these people. But you can go to hyperacusisresearch.org and learn more about people who have a hypersensitivity to hearing, or if you are one of these people, find all the research that's there on that very important topic. Now, I had a quote from Ode magazine about silence, which reads, "Being silent means more than just holding your tongue. It means listening for the softest, most subtle sound of all, the sound of the soul." Now I'm thinking that for most people, one of the reasons why silence is simply often avoided, it's because we don't want to wait for anything. We're busy, we're overwhelmed with stuff to do, we're rushing here and there, we're multitasking. We have short attention spans, no focus, wandering minds, and part of this allows us to use mindfulness to come back to the present moment. And I was reading a Psychology Today article by George Michelson Foy, who said people can retain roughly 7 chunks of information in short-term memory. Posit a person working on a complicated computer file, fielding 2 emails from different people on different subjects, staying aware of colleagues, listening to music, thinking of dinner, and you've already got double or triple the number of chunks he or she can successfully retain and process. So really, it's noticing all this stuff we're constantly juggling and recognizing where that leads us, usually to be tense or angry. And I've been really looking at silence in my own life and trying to notice where I want to jump on to the next thing. And I always remember when I was younger, like many young people, I loved the video games and movies and filled a lot of my time with movies. Really, that's just, for me, that was instant gratification. I didn't have to think about the entertainment. I just saw whatever movie was playing when I showed up. And today, we really value instant gratification and do everything we can to avoid waiting and speed up the waiting process. Just look at all the people at the DMV, and they're all grumbling. They can't wait 5 minutes. And one great place to practice silence, well, I guess, is the DMV. Learning to be patient, settling into the moment. But recently I was in the grocery store, and the lanes were pretty much all full. The self-checkout and the full checkout. And I usually like to just get in, get out, which means I usually just go to the smaller stores. But sometimes there are lines there too. But the lines were, at least to me, they seemed, really, really, really slow. And I've stopped telling myself that I'll always pick the wrong one. And as I entered one lane, there was just one cart completely full, but just one cart. I just started to step into the silence, and I just watched the people in the self-checkout lanes. I noticed the clerks coming over to help people who couldn't seem to self-checkout, who were not moving any faster than the normal lanes, and I just settled in. I didn't rush to start putting stuff on the belt, and I did notice the woman in front of me and noticed her energy. She seemed to be buying groceries for multiple people, but I didn't stare, and I didn't glare at her. I just looked around the store, and I looked at the clocks. There's 2 clocks, and one on one wall was slightly faster than the other clock. And I looked at the newspaper rack, and it was at the end of the day, but the rack was full. And then I looked at the other lanes, some of them that I'd passed, and some people had gone ahead and got out of the store, but some people were still in line that I had noticed. Mostly I just stood in the moment and waited, watching people enter the store, watching people leave, and just standing there in my space. And nobody else entered my lane, and before I knew it, the woman ahead of me said, "Thanks for your patience, sir," calmly, nicely, matching my energy, instead of being sharp, edgy, nervous, or anxious. She unconsciously recognized my energy and matched it. Could have been, nasty or just cold, but no, she just calmly thanked me and moved on. And I said, that's all right. So it's really noticing your power and how you might step more fully into your power by stepping in to silence and the space that it provides. I could be like a lot of other people in the store and talking on my cell phone and looking around and tapping my shoes, but I really passed the time quickly, and I didn't even notice the time go because I was just standing in a silent moment, noticing, being aware, but not too aware, I guess you could say. Or hyper aware is how everyone seems to be a lot today. Just being in the experience and observing. And with that in mind, I have a quote from Dr. Arlene Bronsaft, who is an environmental psychologist and has been studying noise for 3 decades. She researches, writes, and advises noise groups worldwide on the effects of noise on mental and physical well-being. She says the first thing too many people do when they are entering their homes is to turn on the television or radio just to have some background sound. They don't spend enough time getting in touch with their feelings, reflecting, imagining, and thinking. All rewarding activities that call for quiet. So just paying attention to new spaces that you enter. So when you leave work and come home, or leave wherever you are and come to your personal space, what do? Do you start making phone calls? Do you turn on the TV and the radio and wash dishes? What happens? Do you make space for silence? How can you begin to really bring more silence into your life so that you begin to notice the details of what's going on around you? It's really about stepping out of being so busy that you're either living in the past or worrying about the future. And that's not really helpful. Perhaps you're thinking about what you're doing tomorrow or the next day, anything not to be in the moment. For me, it used to be to simply step out of boring. This day's boring. What can I do next? This is why I've really started to look more deeply at silence. Do I need to watch that show? So maybe it starts with letting go of a few television shows or radio programs. Do you really need them? Let them go. Do you need to watch that movie? I used to go every week. Now I can't really remember the last movie I saw in the theaters. That might not be right for you. Do what works for you. Surely it is less to talk about at the water cooler, but at least initially. But over time, other activities and interests can come in, can create a new space in your life. But it's not about filling the silence. It's about making room for the silence and something new. Be careful what you fill the space with. New things will unfold. They have for me. And it's simply not just filling a checkbox on your to-do list. And it's not just something that needs to be dealt with. It's really looking at what the space in your life is filled with now and seeing what can be cleared away. Florence Nightingale, in her book, Notes on Nursing, says, unnecessary noise is the most cruel abuse of care which can be inflicted on either the sick or the well. So even back in 1859, we knew that noise was a problem. Not only because it's a nuisance, but I was reading this week that over 30 decibels is associated with high blood pressure, anxiety, and stress. So loud noise can cause all kinds of problems. Hearing loss, inability to have effective communication because you can't understand the other person, physical, psychological stress, reduced productivity, all kinds of stuff. And a University of Michigan study found that working in loud places can definitely increase blood pressure levels. And another study found that 4,000 cardiac patients in Europe were linked to higher risk of heart attacks simply because of their exposure to chronic noise. It's also a major source of sleep disruption, which there leads to fatigue, irritability, and decreased job and school performance. So you perform worse because you're sleeping less and the noise gets to you every day, causing more and more anxiety, more and more stress. And a study published in October 2000 in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that women working in cubicle-style offices with just low-level noise had elevated levels of epinephrine, a hormone indicator of stress, in their urine. So just low-level noise affects our stress levels. And in America, noise ranks as a number one neighborhood complaint, higher than crime, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. And Psychology Today article by George Michelson Foy called The Quiet Life, he says, the mere act of paying attention to the quality and quantity of sound can immediately reduce noise-related stress, in part because it implies we're coming to grips with the problem and hope to resolve it. So just beginning to recognize that noise is an issue, even just at home for yourself, you can come to grips or begin to come to grips with the fact that you have an issue with noise. And that's really the beginning of how you can begin to work with noise in your life. Simply recognizing that it's a problem. And for teenagers today, of course, everyone's got their MP3 player and their phone constantly with earphones plugged in. And I'm not saying get off my lawn here. I'm saying pay attention to how you let your children handle the noise situation, because more and more we're seeing in higher levels of hearing damage in teenagers and even younger children today. And continuing on with the Psychology Today article, George Michelson Foy says, the main work you did at the outset of becoming conscious of your sound environment, the vast majority of people focus on sight as their primary sensory input and consider sound to be pure background, invisible, harmless. So they just look around and say, oh, I don't have a problem, but the stereo's on, the TV's on. He says the next step is to try to bring the general level of volume down. For these purposes, two types of sound exist. Sounds you can control directly and those you can't. The first type is usually produced by stuff in your immediate environment. The radio, for example, turn it off. Switch off the TV, and so on and so forth. So just to begin to turn off the small things and notice what you tend to keep on. Do you keep a fan on at night for the background noise? Do you keep the TV? Do you keep the radio? Start to turn these off and find other ways to make yourself less anxious and more calm. Now we have about 2.5 minutes till a break. When we get back, we'll talk about what silence can help us do. In the meantime, I want you to begin to think about how you might work with silence in your life and to notice how you feel when you've spent a few moments just being silent. And think about it. When you went outside, took a walk in nature, walked on the beach barefoot, think about how great you felt when you came back. This is part of the message that silence can bring, really, is it's a way to connect inward to ourselves and truly begin to listen to our inner voice, because it's time to tune out the outer world and begin to start to notice ourselves and how we feel. So instead of saying, oh, my back hurts me, it always has, you can start to notice, just like we were talking about last week with the body scanning, the level of intensity of the ache that you might feel. Perhaps it feels better on a scale from 1 to 10 than it did yesterday or last week, or you'll begin to notice on some days it feels really good, or at least better, especially on those days perhaps when you spend time stretching or walking in the park and just enjoying yourself for a few moments, bringing enjoyment into your life. So I've posted the link to the Intuitive Challenge. Remember, anyone that calls in and talks about the work that they did to discover and intuit the identity of the individual gets the first commemorate Your Unfolding Senses pen, and we'll talk about that when we come back from break.
brought to you by our advertisers, sponsors, and listeners like you who shop at our on-site store and make donations to the station. Visit awakenradio.net to chat, shop, and donate. Thank you for keeping the energy flowing and growth.
Hello, Donna Devane here, station owner of the Awakened Radio Network, and I got a surprise for you. Sunday, July 14th, I will be drawing a winner for a $30 gift certificate good towards anything in the Awakened store. Now, how do you get in the entering? Easy. Go over to awakenedradio.net, our front page of our website. There's a donate button there. Every $1 that you donate to the station will enter you into the drawing for a $30 gift certificate. That's right. $1 gets you one chance to win. Now, somebody asked me, but Donna, can I donate more than that? Sure you can. You can donate as much as you like, and each dollar will enter your name and email address into the drawing to win a gift certificate for $30 towards anything in the Awakened store. So mosey on over to awakenedradio.net. That takes you right to the station's front page on our website. You'll see a donate button there. Good luck, have fun, and stay tuned, because we will be holding other drawings and giveaways and contests in the coming days. Part of our listener loyalty perk. You work with us, we work with you. It's a win-win for everybody. We're all about that survival energy. Peace.
Thank you for joining me, Rob Ragozzine, here on my show, Your Unfolding Senses. Please feel free to join us in the chat room or call us here at Awakened Radio with your intuition or healing questions. Simply dial 334-649-7204 or add Awakened Radio to your Skype. And we're back. And with that, I'd like to talk about what silence can do, but first a Q&A, and that's, I'm often asked, well, how do I connect into my intuition? I don't know how. But meanwhile, you're plugged into your MP3 player and you're doing a million things. It's really about connecting into the silence, making time and space to truly be able to listen and pay attention. Not only just listen, but pay attention to the information that's probably already coming to you. Time and time again, I see people posting 111 and 1111 on Twitter and Facebook. And are they seeing these recurring numbers all the time? Or are they just posting them when they see them? And I wonder, are they truly trying to connect into what the message is about? But they're on Facebook and Twitter, so I'm tending to doubt that they're giving themselves time and space to truly listen. So it's about sending yourself a message that this is a special time to connect into your intuition, and that's spending time in silence. It doesn't have to be an hour or 2 hours or a full day. It could be 10 minutes where you sit down and meditate for a bit or just reflect in silence, and then ask yourself, what does this symbol or recurring number or billboard, I get a lot of those, or whatever type of symbol, maybe it's an animal, you've been seeing hawks or birds or horses, you can say, what does this mean for me in my life today, now, this moment, and listen for the message, just connecting inward. You don't have to do anything more. It could be that simple. And then you don't need to pay a psychic or read a book or look for a website with the answer. You have the answer inside of you. It's just spending the time to truly connect in and truly listen to yourself. So what does silence do? Well, initially, silence can lower your blood pressure. So right there, just spending a few moments in silence, you can de-stress and have your blood pressure lowered. And it can boost your immune system, and tons of research on that, so I recommend Googling that. And it allows for good hormone regulation and interaction of all the hormone-related systems in your body and keeps plaques from forming in your arteries. So not only does the noise cause tension and hypertension and high blood pressure, but the silence can reverse that, thus helping to prevent cardiovascular disease and strokes. And it also reduces pain and helps your brain to become more interactive, so you're disentangling yourself from all the chaos and the stress and the worry, and now you can be more productive and probably won't have to multitask. And Dr. Bonscraft says, you relax, slow down, and get in touch with your inner being, and that's good for your body, your mind, and your spirit. Silence essentially is important on the inside and the outside, and sometimes we have more noise on the inside and that's on the outside, and we'll talk about some of that a little later. And Science Daily just had a interesting study that was published today or recently this week at least, the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, and it was looking at sleep duration and a traditional healthy lifestyle, so exercise, healthy diet, moderate alcohol, and non-smoking, and they showed that that combination was associated with a 57% lower risk of cardiovascular disease, fatal and non-fatal, and 67% lower risk of fatal events. So getting sufficient sleep, 7 or more hours, definitely helps you to be healthier and live longer and stay away from the cardiovascular disease. And obviously when you're sleeping, you're silent. Now, some good ideas for being silent. You might try it gardening or meditating out in nature or walking in silence on the beach. Just being out in nature, and all the research now about walking barefoot or whatever they call it, grounding, or I'm not sure what the phrase is, but it seems to be all the rage. So just going barefoot out in nature, making sure, of course, you're not on a beach or in an area with lots of glass or nails. So just paying attention to where you are and allowing yourself to connect with nature and the earth and spending time in silence can be very helpful and very healing. And a simple exercise you might do at work is to close the door, if you have a door, I hope, and take a few deep breaths and then sit there for a while and just watch your inner chatter slow down and slowly disentangle yourself from all the noise and static outside in the office. And you might also practice Tonglen, which we've talked about here before. So that's breathing in the stress, the anxiety into your heart and feeling it transformed into something good for yourself, such as joy and ease. So breathing in the pain, the dark, the heavy, the tension, transforming it, and you're not holding on to it, you're transforming it. And I have links for it on my site, and I'll post them in the forum again. But you're transforming whatever it is into something light, something easing, something releasing, something healing, something joyful, and letting it go out into the world for yourself at first. And this doesn't preclude outer life action. So if you're nervous at work because of all the noise, it doesn't preclude going and talking with your manager or your boss about all of the noise and how it's not helping you to perform to your best, but it can definitely help you to step into a space where it doesn't bother you as much, and perhaps you can make less drastic changes once you've been doing this for yourself over time. And you might also begin to read scripture or sacred text, Course in Miracles, or your book of choice, simply sitting in silence. That's one exercise that you might use silence for, is to simply sit and read, but don't use it to fill your time. So if you were watching a television show at a particular hour and now you've decided to sit in silence at this time, don't just read the book to fill that space. Use it really to connect to yourself first, and then when you feel you're ready, you can begin to read one of these books that might have meaning for you. You might also do a silent walk, and this helps when you have a circular path, and I've talked about this before, to walk, and you sort of do a meditative walk where you walk the path and notice your environment, of course, but you're really just pushing or willing yourself forward and noticing the path as you walk, and not really trying to connect to outer life events and external events. You're settling your mind, calming down, and so the circular path allows you to keep going rather than a straight path where you'd have to turn around and come back and start over again. And you can do that with a partner or by yourself. And of course, you might try to have a fast from noise, so no radio, television, movies, talking for a day or an hour, whatever's appropriate. Try an hour first, and then maybe over the weekend you turn off your cell phone, turn off your TV, don't watch any movies, spend time during the day in silence. And that might really help you to appreciate your life more and to really appreciate silence more. And I had a question in chat about herbs and sound, and I was doing some research this week around aromatherapy and color therapy, sound therapy, and there's all kinds of research to connect into sound and healing around color, but also aromatherapy and scents. And I've never worked with it myself, so I'm not really qualified to fully talk about it, but it's out there. People working with different herbs and different elements from the, what do you call that? I can't remember the word, but it's out there. And another Psychology Today article today to talk about the effective use of silence from December 2009 by Alex Lickerman, and he really talks about different effects that listening can have on silence. And first of all, he says, if you do listening in silence well, most of us engage in listening only as a way of waiting until it's our turn to speak. So if you can't resist thinking about what you want to say when listening, focus instead specifically on being silent, and you'll be surprised how much your ability to concentrate will improve. But of course, you still want to be connected to the other person. And Donna in the chat mentioned she'd like to play with tuning forks. I've always liked to get a set of them myself. I think that'd be more effective. I don't yet have any tuning forks. I was thinking about getting a full set so I can work with all the sounds. I started to work with singing bowls, and I bought an inexpensive one, and they're all tuned to the individual notes, depending on which bowl you get, you can work with C or A or B, depending on who created the bowl, of course, and how well you can actually tune into the individual music notes. So I guess the same is with the tuning forks as well as the bowls, but you really need, I believe, a quality singing bowl as well as a quality tuning fork, because when I strike the bowl, it barely makes a sound. I'm not really happy with it, and I guess that's what you get for not really finding a good one. So if you're looking to experiment with sound in that way, I recommend really spending the time and the money and the research, probably going into a Tibetan shop if you have one locally, or finding a reputable one online and doing your research and really being willing to invest your time and money to get a good one. Otherwise, you're really wasting your money. And I know here in Connecticut there's a sound center that works with some of the crystal bowls. I've never been, but many people report that they do really good therapy there. And I'm sure there's appropriate therapy where you live, so look for a sound center near you. And again, since we're talking about music bowls and tuning forks, of course you want to start to pay attention to music, because music too can help to lower blood pressure and recovery from stress. And you might want to join a drumming group. I talked a little about this, I think 2-3 weeks ago. I'm in one, and the energy, really, there's a group of, I don't know, I want to say 20 people that randomly show up. Some of the same people, but different people each time. And it's really cool, at least here in Connecticut. We just meet in a town square, and it's right next to a bookstore and all kinds of a movie theater, all kinds of little shops. And we take over the square for 2 hours, and people dance, and they have tambourines and all kinds of other instruments too. So people really love the drumming, and they all take part, and they dance and play their instruments, whatever they bring too. So if you're into that, that can definitely help you to connect inward to your own inner voice, your own inner silence. Drumming, any kind of musical instrument, can really help you to appreciate silence more, because now you're purposely creating music to help to shift yourself. And there's, of course, tons of research on the healing effects of drumming and listening to music. Now, I was reading about the damaging effects of noise on the outside, and that really led me to wonder, what about the inside? And that led me to an article by Dr. Domar from a complementary healthcare center in Boston, and she's also an assistant professor at Harvard Medical School. And you probably already know this, but she says self-punishing thoughts are mental fuel for anxiety and depression. When faced with stress or challenge, the stream of negative self-talk only boosts the stress response, undermining your coping abilities. And she says, stop bad-mouthing or blaming yourself. You need to challenge the logic and truth of negative thoughts, and then replace them with kinder, more realistic assessments. For instance, instead of flying off the handle, you can say, I'm not perfect, I'm doing the best I can, or I lost my temper because I'm tired, I'll try to be more patient, I'm a good caregiver. And most likely, your negative thoughts aren't really rooted in reality anyway. I mean, you tell yourself you're never right, and we were talking about this on air on Saturday with Donna, I believe. I mean, were you never right in your whole entire life? That seems like that's pretty impossible. So don't learn to not accept that. It's senseless. It's a put down, and it's really a willingness to let go of the attachment to that thought. What does it do for you? It really keeps you stuck in a particular pattern. And I believe I have a caller on the air. Hello?
Hello there. This is Janet. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Janet?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a great show tonight.
Oh, thank you. How can I help you?
I just called in to talk to Rob and to just say what a great show. It is you. Oh, it's so nice to hear your voice. First time we've connected.
Yes.
Yeah, the show is just great, and I'm loving how when you're talking about the silence and how we need to live in a more silent world, I think by definition, Rob, that also includes really listening to the different kinds of sounds that we listen to. So not cutting everything out and, being 100% silent, but being very respectful of the sounds that we listen to, like we were talking about the singing bowls and the vibrations, the different music.
Well, yes, that's very true. It's making the space to be able to honor those things because they've been created specifically for the purpose of healing ourselves, but instead of truly being with them, we're using them while we're listening to the radio or the TV, or we're worrying about what's next. So to be in that space to really work with them.
Right. And, those other extraneous sounds are just distractions that stand in the way of getting to know ourselves better, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. So do you have a question?
No question.
Okay.
You're just doing a great job. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Janet, for calling in. And Dr. Domar finishes, she says, whenever you catch yourself thinking that you can't do something, recall one or two past successes, and then you realize that you have been right in the past, and you'll feel better about yourself. So it's really about starting with the correct, or with a better mindset. So lots of people get out of bed, take a shower, have coffee, and put on the news, and it starts the cycle of stress for the day. And you'll do the same thing tomorrow and again the day after that. So it's letting go of some of these patterns. I know for myself, I've started to listen to a station that doesn't do the news. It doesn't do a lot of ads. It just plays jazz. So I still get the news because it filters through to me eventually, but it's not a constant stream, and I think that has really helped me the most, is to step out of that constant stream. Ultimately, it's about bringing awareness to what you do and bringing mindfulness into your life. And you might start with that, with mindfully bringing silence into your life, perhaps while you're eating breakfast, perhaps while you eat your meals, to eat them silently. And that will help you to truly be in relationship with others when you're communicating with them, because you'll be creating a special space for yourself, and that will unfold into your life in new and surprising ways. So mindfully eating, think about that. It's not complex. It's simply making space in your life to enjoy the food that you create and cook for yourself, hopefully. And hopefully it's organic and it's good for you. So noticing the food that you eat, first of all, look at the package, look at the ingredients, Are they noisy? You probably don't want to eat them. Allowing, and I've talked about enjoying the tea, for instance, before. So too often we buy a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or hot chocolate or whatever whatever it is, and in a gulp, it's gone. We didn't even notice that we drank it. So bring attention just to our coffee or tea or whatever your beverage is, and starting there. How hard is it to simply enjoy the process of drinking this, feeling it warm your body? It can be an intimate moment with yourself, and truly connecting inward and recognizing that it's helping you to feel less stressed, less anxious, and more calm. Now, back to, and Donna was talking about cheesecake and dark chocolate. Yes, probably my favorites as well. But we're back to almost the end of the show here. So we'll continue, I guess, in a few weeks with more on silence, including taking silent retreats and whatnot. But for now, I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight and remind you that if you're so inclined and you've enjoyed our shows, donations are greatly appreciated. We're here for no cost to you, so please find it in your heart to click the donate button at the top of most of the screens here at Awakened Radio. And be on the lookout for the next issue of Thrive Magazine. You can publish in the next issue if you get in your article, artwork, or poetry by August 10th, but probably within the next week or so, this month's issue of Thrive Magazine will be available for your perusal, so look for that, and hopefully you'll be able to contribute for it next month. August 10th is the deadline. And if you'd like to be a sponsor here at Awakened Radio, you can provide us with a 30-second script with your name, description, website, and phone number for your business, and we'll record the audio, and you can advertise your business here. And our shows are archived, so it'll be in the archive forever, and it's played at the start of the show and halfway through the show and at the end of the broadcast. So if you're willing to be a sponsor, you can come here and find the information on that by clicking on the appropriate links. And please join me again next week here at the new time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And in the meantime, you can find me at Twitter at Intuition by Rob, and on Facebook at Your Unfolding Senses, and I post about the topics that I'm going to be talking about in the coming week there on Facebook, or at Rob Ragozzine, where I pretty much post about what I'm reading and enjoying as I peruse Facebook. So please, if you're willing, friend me or like my fan page, and if you have any questions about tonight's topic, please feel free to contact me on Twitter or Facebook or email, and I'll gladly talk to you about this or the Intuition Challenge. And thanks for joining me here tonight, and I'll talk to you again next week.